We are here today to celebrate the culmination of this course, EDM 135, Assessment and Evaluation in Mathematics. Welcome to EDM 135, revisiting the essential parts of assessment and evaluation. I am Regine Apilado,
And I'm Stella Magduno,
your host for this wonderful event.
So we will guide you through an afternoon filled with enlightening talks, hilarious moments, and of course, learnings to prepare you as you proceed to your next years as BSL Math students. So before we start, I would just like to ask, kumusta man tatanan mga BSL Math?
How about you, Stella? How are you?
So I'm kind of nervous, but actually I am also relieved nga after pila ka kuan mahuman na gyud ta. So how about our dear audience? Can we ask someone from them nga kuan kung kumusta sila personally?
Let's ask someone. Sige, kanina to ang mga visitor. How are you, sir? What's your name?
Okay lang. I'm from Stephen Olmaya, first year student, BSL Mathematics course. Okay lang po.
Thank you so much.
So, are you ready for an amazing noon, everyone?
Yes, that's right. This afternoon will be filled with meaningful learnings as we revisit the essential parts of this course.
And we really highlighted the word revisit. So just a little etymology. So revisit comes from the prefix re, which means again plus the word visit. So revisit means to visit again. So by the way, why do we need to revisit this thing?
Stella, it is important to revisit some of the key points of this course because it is one way of showcasing everything that we've learned from this course and also to impart this to our fellow BSN math students or future educator who will be taking this course for the next school years.
Exactly. So how about we ask someone from the audience about her experience that is worth revisiting?
Yeah, that's a good idea. So how about we ask what is that one experience, what remarkable experience in your life that you want to revisit?
I would like to revisit again the concept of PRU framework.
Very academic, no?
Okay, thank you so much for sharing such experience.
So for now, I think everyone is ready and very eager to learn for this afternoon session. Without further ado, we will now begin the program proper for EDM 135 Culmination,
Revisiting the essential parts of assessment and evaluation in mathematics. Ladies and gentlemen, before we start our program, may I request everyone to please rise for the opening prayer and the singing of the national anthem.
بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم فقال ربكم ادعوني استجب لكم آمين يا رب العالمين الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين اللهم اجمع شمل المسلمين والكريستيان والأمة في مدينة نباو وسلم دائما مجتمعنا هذا بالسلم والأمن والتقدم في بلدنا هذا آمين يا رب العالمين ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب ربنا إنك أنت الوهاب ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار وصلى الله على خير خلقه سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين آمين يا رب العالمين.
In the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Our most gracious Heavenly Father, we come to you today to praise and worship you and give you thanks for all the things you continue to provide for ourselves and our families. Father, we humbly ask for forgiveness for all the times we have offended you, when we forget to acknowledge your presence in the image of our brothers and sisters, and for moments we fail to be good stewards of the blessings you have given us. Continue to guide and protect each one of us, Lord, that we may always walk in the light of your everlasting love and mercy. Grant us, Father, with your comfort in times of distress and with your strength in times of weakness. Bestow upon us your unending grace and healing, that we may in turn become instruments of gentleness and compassion to others. We ask all this in the name of your Son, our Lord Jesus Christ, with the prayer and the intercession of our Blessed Mother. Amen.
Mga kababayan, ang pambansang awit ng Pilipinas. Kayang magiliw, kaya sa silanganan, harap ng puso, sa litig mo'y buhay. Lupang pinirang, kuya ka ng pag-ibig, sa manluluping, di ka pasisigil, sa dagatang tutok sa simoy at sa langit mo bagaw, ay hinatang tula at awit sa pagkayang minamahal. Ang isang lang matawag mo'y tagumpay na naghihiling, ang bituin at araw niya kailan pa may maghihiling. Lumalang araw ng walang pagsinta, buhay langit sa akin mo. Ang bigaya na pagkay pangangin, ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo.
Thank you, everyone. You may now take your seats. We are honored to have distinguished guests, faculty member, and our fellow students here today. So before we proceed, let's give a warm welcome to Mr. Winston Lagumbay as he'll open this event with a welcome address.
Let's give him a big round of applause, please.
To our EDM 135 professor, Mr. Junel Medina, blackmates, and fellow IITians, good afternoon. So, we are gathered here today to culminate a significant course for us, the EDM 135 Assessment and Evaluation in Mathematics. After our 5-month journey of this course, we have finally reached the finish line, but we won't be ending it with an exam, but rather, we are closing the course with a series of talks that will showcase everything we have learned in EDM 135, including the challenges we have to go through. Because what more remarkable way to end this than looking back, revisiting all the essential lessons of this course. So, I won't be taking this long, as since I know all of you are excited and looking great honor that I welcome you all to EDM 135 culminating event. Sit back and relax as we listen and instill in our hearts and minds that we will be learning today. To end, I would like to quote a saying from C.S. Lewis: "The task of the modern educator is not to cut down jungles, but to irrigate deserts." Thank you, and once again, good afternoon.
Thank you, Mr. Lagumbay. Hello. Thank you, Mr. Lagumbay. Thank you, Mr.
Palayo. Palayo. Gira. Palayo. Ay, pwede sa baba.
Thank you, Mr. Lagumbay, for that inspiring welcome address. It's now time to delve into the fascinating world of assessment and evaluation in mathematics. To introduce to you our first speaker, Mr. Daniel James Pijano, who will tackle the analysis reports. Please give him a round of applause, please.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Daniel, the first speaker. And I will be speaking about an item analysis of the results of an international exam that we, the third year BSN math students, have taken. And it is from map.matchshell.org. Now, I want you to look back in a time where you were still grade 12 students. And you say, is there an event where you can say that you're confident enough to face college level mathematics? No? And have you taken college preparedness exams? Like, have you taken college SASE? SASE is an entrance exam, but not college preparedness exam. College preparedness exam will gusto niya kuhaon kung ano mo kanang okay na ba mo kanang inyong kung kaya na ba ninyo ang college para to boost your confidence and so that you will know your path in college. And I know that you are familiar with this type of typical quarterly multiple choice exams, especially in public schools. It is formatted like this, where there are choices of 4, and this is the assessment exams is not like this. The career path assessment exam that we have taken is something like this. You will be presented with with attempts of proving Pythagorean theorems, and you will be tasked to select what is the best of them and explain the reason why you selected that as best, and the criticism. You must give also criticism to the other attempts as to why is it not the best. So, guys, college and career readiness mathematics. It is It is made in collaboration between the University of California, Berkeley, and Shell Center team at the University of Nottingham. It was made from 2007 to 2017. Initially they made a draft in 2007, and they improvised. They applied it and improvised and improved it until 2015. And 2015, what they have no update whatsoever, because in the copyright it is only 2015. So, college and career readiness mathematics gives the students a chance to show what they know, not just how they know, but how they reason out, as well as to solve mathematical problems. So, in solving this, you must know how to reason out, and you must really know the reason of your answers. And it also measures a student's preparedness for success in college level mathematics courses. This was mentioned in the website, but I don't know if it is applicable here in the Philippines, but because most of the trials that they have made is in the US. This is the typical exam. This is the scoring draft answer key. What the standards of an answer, and this is the sample. Sample of a student that who our classmate that made the perfect score. And this is his answers, and that is the standard. Okay. As you can see, this is the short task that, as you can see, it's very short task. Answer, so things only, no explanation whatsoever pa. And the next is in the sales. The sale, no? Where, like here you must explain why now your file will provide a file later about the sales. They were may mga offers na gihatag sa imo o pabilihon ka kung asa ang pinakanindot na offer, o you must explain it here why is it the most wonderful offer to take, and it is not just a scam. And here is a second explanation, further explanation. And in the functions, here you must illustrate the graphs, something like that, and give explanation, give solutions. Here, this is what I mentioned earlier about the Pythagorean theorem, and explanations, criticisms. So it is very good. This is the roll scores. What din yung roll scores na guys pag take na sa exams? The range of our scores ranging from perfect score is 36, and the lowest is 14. So maklaro na. 14 siya guys. 14 ang lowest, and the average of the scores of our scores is 23. So grades don't define. Thank you guys. And okay na siya. It was supposed this activity was supposed to measure our status quo kung nasaan na po tayo sa level ng mga grade 10 students. Pag grade 10 na sa US, sa internationally, but we have taken it as third years. Okay na. Thanks. So, it is the item, this will be the item analysis for first the short task, the sale, functions, and proofs of Pythagorean theorems. In short task. So as we can see in the difficulty index, it is very easy, no? So short task, the 0.9 there. This wala ginasayop sa pinakauna kay wala ginasayop no kay naabot mo siya 1 and sa uban dugmay ra kayo mga nasayop kaya short task mo ni pero sa fifth which is the maghimo ka kanang equation, you make an equation out of this average difficulty but matigit siya makaingon niya very difficult nga ma-revise gid siya which is ma-retain na siya kay challenging siya even though we are third year college students. And the discrimination index in each items, they were all very good because they are more than 0.40% and perfect, almost perfect, almost. Okay. And the sales, okay, the sales that we have. The difficulty index 0.827 and 0.779, which is easy. Repetition in that one. And in the discrimination index, almost perfect also, almost 2, 1.743 and 1.558. And in the division, they must be revised because the students were not challenged and it is very easy for them. In the functions, the first item where we must draw here is particularly very easy and in the difficulty index and its discrimination index, the validity, it is also very good item. But based on the difficulty index, it must be revised because it is too easy and the students would not think hard enough. Were able to take hard enough. And in the second item, it is average difficulty, but it is a very good item so that students can think critically. So it must be retained. Sa level in the third year, students can. And the third and fourth item, the two, it must be retained. Having a difficulty index of 0.712 and 0.397, and the discrimination index of 1.423 and 0.795. So it is in average difficulty and it's a very good item. The validity of the item is very good. So the two must be retained. And for the proofs of Pythagorean theorem, it is, as you can see, the difficulty index was like something like that. Okay, 0.339, 0.338, okay? 0.338 difficulty index, which is very far from what we kanina, 0.7, 0.8, and 1 or almost 2. But here, where you must select proof attempt. And the discriminatory index from the higher scores and the lower scores is also very good. Wala siya nakabot sa 1 o basta ko siya sa 0.440, which is very good. And it must be retained so that because the students were thinking critically based on the analysis. So the nature of the exam is that it tests for college and career. Test for college readiness. Career readiness is an impressive standard assessment designed to evaluate students' mathematical proficiency, and it is meticulously made by the colleges in the US so that the paths of the students may be clearer after taking this exam. And the scope of this exam is in algebra, geometry, and mathematical reasoning. There is also about the entrepreneurship mathematics, the applications of mathematics in entrepreneurship, and so on and so forth. The complexity, the test items provided students, as we can see in the analysis, that even though there are items that not so complex for third year students, but they're in the last parts, especially in the Pythagorean theorem, in the proofs, where as makikita talaga natin na mahihirapan talaga mga estudyante pagdating na sa mga proving at kung paano nila sinagot yun. And we can say that in the challenges and issues, the pressure because we're in the side of the pressure na sa my personally na kami na pressure kami kasi pag grade 10 yan at kami third year na pressure talaga napasagdag mo yung scores niya ang complexity of the problem, solving needs and recalling previous lessons, and kani gid sa complex problem solving because ako personally I have not tried solving something like that where you were given attempts to proving and you're proof at imong i-criticize ang masindot nga bago kay ako as a person I am very goal-oriented and would only focus on the very short and ang pinaka-ayaw ko kanang mag-focus ako pinaka-nindot nga kanang prove diretso hindi rin ako tara na pero it is very unique for me personally and I am having honestly I am naglisod ko pag-answer na katong sa proving na time and the time constraint it is 40 minutes so sa uban ang time constraint yun kay murag naman sila may nungduman how wala akong kami nungduman nato kay murag ko especially sa proving so in conclusion sa item analysis that okay lang kung naagian na nato to sa amo mga part okay lang to mga pinakaunang items sa sales sa functions sa short pero ang lisod gid katong sa paghimo na sa paghimo pag-equation mag-judge ka sa mga mga attempts sa proving it is very hard labi na kung wala gid nimo na realize gid ako nga wala gid din ako naon akong learnings and I hope na naka-realize mo talaga nga kinahanglan gid nato i-own mas deeper pa gid ang pag-learn nato sa mga nakatunan sa kinabuhi, especially sa mathematics, which we are future teachers. We must envision and we must program ourselves not to di na tamusuon sa mga sa nato pagkadawat sa mga lessons kung dili dapat i-explain din nato para mas mapailag yun, mas maon yun sa mga estudyante nato atong mga ibang tudlo para mas masabtan nila o para parehara yun na sa kanang tumutabang ka sa iyong mama tumutabang na sa iyong mama kay tumutagaan ka ni point or cheese na yun na mutabang ka sa iyong mama or sa iyong parents mo kabalo ka kinahanglan kang mutabang kay family man mo kabalo ka ba nga mo kanang is for you for your own good sa inyong tanan so philosophy na is that's all thing.
Thank you, Mr. Pihano. So it's really important to give value to our past lessons, no? Because we will never know. Magamit pa nato siya in the future. Now let's add some fun to the afternoon. So I believe every one of us can read, right?
So before we proceed with our next speaker, let's have first a brief intermission, kind of an icebreaker.
So we will be picking someone from the audience to read what will be flashed on the screen. But here's the catch. You shall not laugh, okay? So,
but before we will reveal what these images would be, let's have first a volunteer. So who would like to volunteer with our icebreaker? Kind of icebreaker.
it will be
If wala, mamili na lang.
Mamili na lang.
Sige, ikaw, Harley.
Okay, Harley.
Since none naman may volunteer,
Since we already have a volunteer, we will now announce what these images contain. So this is actually a funny meme competition of the experiences of the BSN Math on the course EDM 135. So can you please stand? Okay. So the winner will be announced later, so keep an eye out for that. So,
speaking of memes, here are our first entry, funny meme, that perfectly captures EDM 135 experience.
So nakagutang rin kayo kung masakot sa amin ni Sir Joe. Nakarelate na ng message mo. Pero, kanang kuhan, as time goes by kay murag, kung hinatang ni Sir kay masabta na mo siya kadugayan kay murag pamilya na matod ka sa kanang
so can request Jessa to please read with feelings the meme.
wala di ko kasabot sa akin, Sir Joe.
Thank you, Harley Jean and Jessa B. Urot. So thank you for that hilarious meme, no? Whoever made that. And now let's move on to our second speaker, Miss Catherine Saran, as she will discuss about assessment.
Please welcome Miss Catherine Simon.
God is good.
All the time.
All the time.
God is good.
Okay, so measurement, assessment, and evaluation. These are some of the words that we commonly hear when quantifying students' academic performance. Although these words are used interchangeably, each of these disciplines has a distinct contribution in the assessment and evaluation in education. A pleasant afternoon to each and every one of you. Unta, okay lang mo, kay mga pressure kayo yung mga dagwig. Okay. So, once again, my name is Catherine Sailan. When I was in grade school, I used to be very competitive and grade conscious. So, that actually led me to become more focused on my grades than of my learning. In fact, whenever summative assessments are approaching, I get to be very excited. Excited for ako, excited. So my excite ko, why? Perhaps I take assessment as a challenge and as an opportunity at the same time. So challenge because I want to evaluate my understanding. And then opportunity because I want to excel in the class. But now that I am a student taking the teaching profession, of course, I now have acquired a new perception about assessment. But this also makes me think about how do other students like me view or perceive assessment. So, do the students find assessment interesting or bothersome? Diba, like sa inyong mga ginaingon is mga pressure. And then, interesting kay, parang siguro si Dio, or like students na excellent choice. Ma-excite ka, basta na-assessment ka, dali na, ha? So katong students nga, para sa ako na compliance lang mag-learn. So mga dili ko sa bothersome. Although grades can be a determinant of students' learning, right? But students' capacities are not just limited to the marks they obtain. Just like what Daniel said, grades don't define me. Because each student have distinct skills, right? And intellectual capabilities which they excel in. So this is when assessment comes in. So by definition, this is what I have learned. Assessment is the process of gathering data to understand the strengths and the weaknesses of the students. And so to gather this data, assessment happens before, during, and after a lesson. So before pertains to the pre-test or the diagnostic test that gauge students' needs. Specifically, It answers the questions, what areas do the students currently stand, or what lessons do they currently know? So, the during is said to be the most crucial part of the assessment. Why? Because it is where the teacher encourages self-direction and collaboration. So, di ba? So, during assessment is very crucial, just like what I have said. So, what happens in the during will reflect to the after assessment. Because what will you learn, what lessons you learn in the during will be retained in the after assessment. Moreover, assessment boils down to 3 different types. What are these? These are assessment of learning, assessment for learning, and assessment as learning. So assessment of learning, summative assessments or summative tests are basically the assessment of learning because it provides evidence of what the students have learned, right? So second one is the assessment for learning. This is also known as the formative assessment. This is an ongoing assessment that allows the teacher to monitor students' progress and modify their teaching strategy based on the needs of the students. Diba? We as future teachers, we want our students to really connect to the lessons. So we will assess in the assessment for learning whether the students have really catch the lessons that we teach. And lastly, assessment as learning. This empowers students to take ownership of their individual learning. Specifically, students will monitor what they have learned and use varying strategies to evaluate what they know. So, pareha ng problem-based learning. Kita mag-explore, kita mag-construct, o kita mag-analyze ato kinabuhan. So, just like other teachers, like Sister Junel, na sila peer rating and self-rating because we should assess ourselves what did we learn from the lesson. So recall that achieving certain goals is one of the primary indicators of a successful lesson implementation. Do you agree with that? Now, to determine whether or not the lessons or the objectives are met, we use assessment. So, the use of assessment types that I have mentioned earlier depends on the objectives or the goals that you want to achieve. Do you get it? So, earlier, I have mentioned that there are 2 other processes that is used interchangeably with assessment. These are the evaluation and measurement. So for that, I want you to imagine. So dito, imagine ka na naman diri. So the circle is the evaluation process. Inside of it is the assessment process. And then, inside of the assessment process is the measurement. So, as you notice, the measurement has a narrower meaning from the evaluation, but broader meaning from the measurement. Why is this so? Because measurement are assigning numbers to our variables, while assessment is the actual gathering of this data. Lastly, the evaluation is the phase where we assess or we judge. No, not assess. We judge. We make a decision whether or not the student have passed or not. So, now that we have found out that these synonymous terms, measurement, assessment, evaluation, are have distinct functions. Di siya karon na ibanan because you already know it. So I want you to remember that despite of these synonymous terms have common attributes, we should always remember that these processes are part of a bigger process in the assessment and evaluation in mathematics education. That's all.
Thank you, Ms. Thailand, for your enlightening talk. Now let's take another break and enjoy another funny meme about EDM 135.
So are you now ready for another laugh? Yes. Here's our second funny meme entry. So
I believe this famous line is from Miss Nika Kin. So can we ask Miss Nika Kin to give a comment on that?
So, ang tinuod yun na kay hindi ako sa tanan. Okay, may yun sila. Ikaw, sige na, ito dito, bakit
So thank you, Miss Nika Kin, for representing in behalf of everyone. And now, let's proceed to our third speaker, Miss Bea Serrano, who will discuss about constructive alignment.
Please give a warm welcome to Miss Bea Serrano. Thank you, Stella and Regine. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Okay, so today, hello. Today, I want to introduce you to a concept that has the power to transform teaching and learning. Creating an environment where every student can thrive. This concept is called constructive alignment. This was pioneered by an influential education researcher named John Burville Biggs. In Biggs' groundbreaking work, he emphasizes the crucial role of aligning three key components: the learning objectives, the learning activity, and assessment. So the idea is simple, yet profound. Biggs believed that when these elements are in harmony, they empower the students to become actively engaged in their education, fostering deep learning and academic success. So, you see, traditional teaching methods often fall short, especially when it comes to actively involving students in their own learning. So, di ba, na-mention ni Kat, na she was so focused in achieving these grades that she forgot nga kinahanglan niya mag-learn. The most important about going to school is learning and not getting good grades. So, constructive alignment changes that idea, especially to us educators. Constructive alignment believes that as educators, it compels us to ask a set of critical questions. First is, what should our students know or be able to do? Second, how can we design a learning activity that will help them reach these objectives? And how will we assess their knowledge and abilities? So by thoughtfully aligning these three components, learning objectives, learning activities, and assessment, we create a learning activity that can resonate with students. We can tap into their innate curiosity and desire to learn, propelling them towards a higher order thinking and understanding. So why is constructive alignment this crucial? So our research shows that a student is actively engaged in their own learning when they can see the relevance and purpose behind what they are being taught. So na makita nato si application yun. Dili lang merely maka-learn, maka-get those scores exam, but makita din sa estudyante nga ang iyang na-learn is applicable in real life. Nakita niya relevance and purpose behind sa iyang ipang-learn. So in doing so, this compels the teachers to be mindful of what strategies they use and methods they employ. In doing so, we foster an environment that supports not only academic outcomes, but also personal growth and development. So I want you to think of the constructive alignment as a guiding principle for designing programs of learning. So, again, constructive alignment, guiding principles sa ato. Think of it as a guiding principle in creating programs of learning. So I want you to share a personal experience of, that exemplifies the power of constructive alignment. So recently, I was a part of a mock lesson implementation. I happen to be one of the implementers. And our team faced the challenging role of creating a lesson plan that engages students and cultivates their minds and skills. So it was not an easy task because as a team, no, we have different ideas and different perspectives. But what we did is that we turned to Big's constructive alignment for guidance. Now, with constructive alignment as our compass, we crafted a lesson plan that has a clear objectives, that has a relevant and engaging learning activities, and an assessment task that gauge student understanding. So for those nga di na maka-block, no, we did a lesson plan, mock lesson implementation wherein we created a lesson plan and then we presented it with, of course, with critics, classmate na po naman, our professor. So this experience as a third year student and an aspiring educator, this experience was invaluable. It underscored the importance of effective lesson planning and resonates the need for continuous reflection and improvement of our personal development and learning. So, Big's constructive alignment gave me a framework to develop my skills and also to test my capability as an educator. So, my fellow aspiring teachers, I want to challenge all of you to reflect on your own journey. Third year naman dyan ta, so most of us, to reflect on your own journey. Are you ready to become teachers that embraces good teaching, just as Biggs describes? Are you ready?
Yes. Hopefully.
And are you ready to align your learning objectives, your learning activities, and your assessment? So, guys, remember that constructive alignment is not just a mere theory. No, it's a transformative approach that elevates the educational experience of teaching, both teachers and learners. So with that, I want you to think na a constructive alignment is not just a theory na need na to learn, but it's a transformative approach that we have to apply as future educators. No, again, as I've mentioned, traditional teaching methods fails in some aspects, especially when it comes to involving students in their own learning journey. So, constructive alignment, again, changes that. So, with all the positive traits that this transformative approach has, I hope we'll be able to apply it in our professional careers in the future and in the field. So that's all for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Dayape, for sharing your valuable insights. I think it's now time for another entertaining dude. Our next money meme. To remind you all sa itong mga visitors or audience, we have snacks na mag-distribute na matingan sa mga committee. And kung gusto mo mag-CR, pwede mo magawa sa balik lang mo. So get ready to laugh, everyone. Here are our third funny meme.
Sir na po.
Naka-highlight na yun yung name.
Di balik na sad. Tara. Swerte lang hangyo. Sir, mangayo mi hangyo Monday na lang i-submit. Makabalik na po siya. Now, let's proceed to our fourth speaker, Mr. Jobel Malmis, who will discuss his experiences in TRU.
So please give a hand to Mr. Diopel.
Mathematics is one of the most important subjects that us humans must learn. It is applicable in certain sectors such as engineering, business, statistics, and other fields. However, this means that mathematics has been part of our lives ever since the ancient world. However, in the Philippine context, mathematics education has been a huge challenge to both Filipino teachers and students. There are a lot of factors as to why our students' mathematical skills is constantly decreasing. May it be due to the fact that our students might have a low attention span, weak mental ability, or on the teacher's part, and the framework of education itself. So, but as we observe our classrooms, what can you say about our teaching methods? So usually it's traditional, right? And wherein the teacher discusses and then gives examples and then gives exercises, assignments, exams, and that's it. Can we consider this as a quality education? We still use it nowadays, right? Until college. Is it really that effective? Okay, hantod karon nato gyud po siyang ginagamit. So, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I am Jopel Maglangit Mamis, and welcome to this talk. And as teachers, we should ask ourselves, as future magtutudlo sa matematika, do you want to reformat the current state of our mathematics education? So, today I will introduce you to a transformative framework or in teaching mathematics, which is called the Teaching for Robust Understanding Framework, or simply the TRU framework. So, throughout this talk, I will give you some insights on how this framework is a game changer in teaching mathematics in order to empower our learners to become more resilient, passionate, and lifelong critical thinkers. So, but first, before we go to the focal point of this talk, let us first ask why the Filipino students are left behind in mathematics. So, let's take a look at this graph. So, this is from the PISA 2018, or recent PISA 2018, or the Program for International Student Assessment 2018. So, the Philippines is represented by this red circle here. Red, the Philippines, the OECD average, and these are the other countries. So as you can see, the mean score in mathematics for the Philippines is only 353 points, and the average is 489. And that means that in PISA 2018, the Philippines scored a very low average in mathematics. Next. Also, in Trends in International Mathematics and Science Study, this is also international large-scale assessment. In 2019, the Philippines only scored 297 points in mathematics, which is significantly lower, so significant, than any other participating country. Also, the Philippines ranked 36th out of 38 participating countries in teams 1999 and 23rd out of 25 participating countries in teams 2003. Next, according also to Silao 2018, Filipino students had satisfactory performance in basic skill tests and a fair attitude towards mathematics, but low performance in problem-solving achievement tests. So, to sum it up, the performance of the Philippines, our country, in terms of mathematics is very poor. So, this might be due because of the fact that teachers are focused on finishing and completing a certain coverage within a specific time frame, which results to faster discussion and spoon-feeding information. So, makalimot na sila o ask sa ilang mga kabulingon ng mga teachers kung effective ba kung pagtudlo or nabay na learn akong mga estudyante. Nagdali man good. So, inana siya. So, this, as mathematics teachers, this is alarming and concerning at the same time. So, how do we create a meaningful classroom where students can be flexible thinkers and problem solvers? So, this is where the TRU inserts. So, we have to define the TRU framework and its concepts here. So, the TRU is introduced by Alan Schofield, a professor at the University of California. So, siya mo nag-introduce ang TRU framework. So, he defines the TRU framework as for characterizing powerful learning environments in crisp and actionable ways. It provides a straightforward and accessible language for discussing what happens and should happen in classrooms, in professional preparation, and in professional development. So this framework is centralized by 5 dimensions. So that is your 5 dimensions. The first one is the content. The second one is the cognitive demand. Third one is the equitable access to content. Then agency, ownership, and identity. Then formative assessment. Pero for the sake of this talk, we'll be focusing on cognitive demand and formative assessment. So first, the cognitive demand. So a description of cognitive demand is the extent to which students have opportunities to grapple with and make sense of important disciplinary ideas and their use. Students learn best when they are challenged in ways that provide room and support for growth, with task difficulty ranging from moderate to demanding. The level of challenge should be conducive to what has been called productive struggle. So, ato ni siyang buakon into segments. So, first, please kubasa all.
Students have opportunities to grapple with and make sense of important disciplinary ideas and their use.
So, of course, when teaching, we need to prioritize nga ang atong students ay makagrasp sa atong lesson or makagrasp sa information nga atong gusto ihatag sa ila. So at the same time, it should be our priority to make sure nga atong nagrasp nila nga information, kabalo sila kung ano sa ato nila gamiton and kung saan nila paggamit tong information, especially in real life. So, unsa mo man nato na pagbuhat. So, next. Through challenging them. So, students learn best when they are challenged from moderate to demanding. So, challenging our students is a great strategy since kung i-challenge din mga students, maka-think sila deeply. So, also, we need to make sure nga ato ang mga challenge po is conducive. Hindi siya extreme po. Kaya ang main goal nato sa challenges is to stimulate their learning through the challenges na itong gihatag. So example, kung naata sa grade 9 and we are about to discuss radicals. Di ba ang radicals itong ipanghatag kay mostly sa'yo lang mag-add lang ka, then mag-times. Pero what if tagaan nato sila ginan? See? Mura siya glisod, di ba? Okay. Tamon siya sa, dili siya mahuman. So, sa akong pagkuha sa X. So, actually, kung ato na siyang ihatag sa mga estudyante, this is challenging, pero conducive siya. Moderate lang iyang pagka-challenge. Because kung isolve na to siya, first step is extract na to yung first na square root. So, square na to. So, x squared is equal to 4 plus kani. But since kani is equal to x, so x squared is equal to 4 plus x. So, quadratic equation na din siya. So, quadratic formula na yun yung gamitan. So, nana lang. Diba sa'yo lang. So,
Kasi nakabilig, matas ka mo.
So next, for elementary, di ba kung mag-minus na, mag-quad na, mag-borrow. So what if hatagan na ang mga estudyante sa elementary o ginani nga question? So it's challenging. Kaya kung mag-borrow ka, 18 lang gihapon, di ba? So unsa ko na nila pag-solve? So makahuna-huna ang mga bata nga, ay dapat ngita ko lang paagi kay murag katong gitudlo murag dili to siya mogana nana siya nana to pag-challenge. So last time also I'm also one of the implementers in a mock lesson implementation. So na-assign me sa grade 7 and our topic was calculating the measures of central tendency. So ang among gibuhat is instead of usually kung measures of central tendency, hatag tag definition, then hatag tag example, then wala dayon, di ba? Kasi man. But ang sa amoa is we introduced, we recalled the definitions, okay? Assuming sa katulad yung calculate na yun me. So recall ang definition and then ihatagan naman sila dito sa problem. So katong problem for mean, well, kuha na to, kanang given na to, kaya ang mean, sayon naman ang mean. Pero ang median, di ba, ang definition sa median is katong pinakatunga nga data. Pero what if, atagan na to sila even number of data. So, ang nasa middle is duha ka buok. So, saan nila pagpili? Wala man talagang tulo nila nga, pangitaw ng average. So, sila atong hayaan o saan to nila pag-solve. So, kung sa mode po, ang ilang hibawan, kanalang pinakadaghan nga magbalik-balik o gawas sa data. Pero what if tagaan natin sila o multiple mga data nga nagbalik-balik? So, saan na nila pagpili kung saan mode? What if po, tanan ang data nga hatag pareho nagbalik-balik sa kalima, pareho tanan nagbalik-balik kalima. So, saan nila pagpakita sa mode? What if walay mode? Wala siya yung balik-balik. So, saan nila pag-solve? So, inana ang mga problems. Challenging, pero conducive. So, what ang mga challenges? So, katong mga challenges is nag-demand to sila something sa ilang mga cognitive skills. Hence, cognitive demand. So, next. Honing skills through formative assessment. So, kabalo naman tawag sa yung mga formative assessment, right? So, like a description sa formative assessment. So, everybody please read.
The extent to which classroom activities elicit students' thinking and subsequent interactions respond to those ideas, building on productive beginnings and addressing emerging misunderstandings. Powerful instructions meets students where they are and gives them opportunities to deepen their understanding.
So, ato ni siyang i-discuss in the segments. So, first is the classroom activities elicit student thinking. So, of course, your lesson would not be complete if dili ka mag-test sa mga intellectual abilities sa mga estudyante. So, notice na ang ato ang mga teachers throughout the discussion, nasa lang insert nga mga assessment nga ginagmay, di ba? That is to test whether na-absorb ba sa mga estudyante ang ilang itudlo or ang mga estudyante same pa ba o pacing, no? Nagkasinabot ba sila sa teacher? Okay. What if tuloy-tuloy kay katira, then wala nila nagsabot ng estudyante. So, from time to time, insertan mo ang mga formative assessment. So, usa din yung mga purpose ani atong formative assessment. So, addressing emerging misunderstanding. So, atong formative assessment, isa sa mga advantage ani is to see possible misunderstandings or misconceptions sa atong mga estudyante. So for example, mag-discuss ko and then maghatag ko examples, maghatag ko exam. Wala ko'y formative assessment. Like, ako na tanan ng-istorya din. Naminaw lang ang mga estudyante. Then, wala kabalo, kaya wala ko tanan formative assessment, wala kabalo kung nabal sila mga pangutana or misconception di ay wala. Kanang abihan nila nakasabot sila pero wala di ay. So, inana. So, inigabot sa exam, dito na nila babawaan nga, ay, what they, ala, abihan ako ginanion. So, dili di ay. So, kung nag-formative assessment ta, na-address na to nato itong misconception sa discussion pa lang. Kaya para pinag-abot sa exam, kabalo na sa ay, similar ni atong na-encounter na ko sa during this discussion. So, inanion din ako pag-solve. So, kay dili kay ato na hinon sila i-challenge, dito na hinon sa kuan mo atong feeling nila malisura na sila kung wala tayong formative assessment so inana. And next, so in order to create a powerful instruction, we need to meet students where they are and give them opportunities to deepen their understanding. So it is also important for us teachers to meet students where they are. So similar sa kiingon ganina, formative assessment is the best way to do that. Na atong while learning sila, nag-learn sila during our discussion, ato silang sugaton or ato silang agapon to facilitate their learning. So that is through questioning or maghatag ta og mga activities during sa atong discussion. So muna ang mga mag-guide sa ila to facilitate and not coach para ma-deepen ang ilang understanding sa kanang particular na lesson. So why do we need to adapt this framework? So mora to for formative assessment. So why do we adapt this PRU framework? So throughout this discussion, you all might be wondering, why do we need to study this? Why do we need to learn this? What is the importance of this? So those are the same questions that I asked myself during our class. Pero I've realized as time went by na ang PRU framework is very important pala. So, ang PRU framework will help us become effective in delivering quality education. That is from cognitive demand, sa tulong na sa discussion on cognitive demand and formative assessment. So, importance of challenging them and facilitating their learning. So, indeed, drafting out from the traditional method that we are used to, so is not easy. Why? Because most of us, all of us, find that easy and comfortable, right? But think more about it again. So, unsa may nahatag nga hustisya sa teaching method, traditional teaching methods sa atong mga student learn sa atong student learning. So, gitagaan ba ni hustisya based sa atong mga evidences ganina from PISA and TIMSS? So, as we conclude this talk, let us try to visualize our future when we use this PRU framework. Kung unsa ba ang status sa ato ang kuan sa atong classroom kung gamitan nato PRU framework, would there be any changes? Yes, there will be if we start right now. Every journey starts with a single step, and that single step should start today. A single step in becoming quality educators, providing quality mathematics education for future Filipino learners.
Thank you, Mr. Malmis, for that meaningful talk on PRU. So I hope you all go through that single step, no? But so wait, we can't forget the fun. And before that,
may I request the committee, please, the voting committee to distribute. Mana di ay.
our voting committee is very fun. Thank you. So let us now reveal the last Meme of the day. What a meme to kuan. Very kanang concluding meme jud siya, no?
Murag tinood man siya.
Sige, magita ta ko explain na niyo, Bing. Sige, ikaw, Mr. Daniel. So, may mga sa kaning last na to nga.
Okay lang.
Kaya inaano mo na yung mga paper, di ba? So, you can now vote which entry you think is the best meme, the funniest meme na ang nakuan. So, kaniyang winner na mo kay maka-receive of prize later on. So we will give you 2 minutes to write your decisions. Also, committee, please get the paper within that minute. Thank you.
Sir. Papakarami, sir. Papasarami, sir. Uy, bagay mi, uy. Uy, sundan gani mas patay ha. Ay, may katong sa usap. Kinder raman ita yung gana.
So for the voting committee after the maihap, can they someone send the results here for the announcement later? Thank you.
Isa na ka-biscuit mo no? Isa na ka-biscuit mo. Ano man? Apa? Be, papunta na ako, be. Eh, paano mo, ballpen, be? Isa na biscuit ang nabot na, ay, kuwan na, meme number, ha? Isa na yung nahatag yung biscuit ng buwan.
30 seconds to submit your vote.
May ka basa sa akin is vote number 1. Si Dio daw. Joy. Kuboy.
I think we're not done.
Dio.
Manana ang tanan. They submitted already.
Jinibel.
Okay, now it's time for our final speaker. She will tackle the issues and challenges experienced during EDM 125. Please help me welcome Ms. Jeza Urot. Let's give her a round of applause, please. Before we start, EDM 135 Assessment and Evaluation in Mathematics equipped us with the necessary skills to understand and apply assessment and evaluation in the realm of teaching and learning mathematics. It molds us to become competent educators in the future. But competence isn't always, the road to competence isn't easy. Sometimes it's slippery, sometimes it's bumpy. So when we experience challenges and issues along the way, sometimes umulighok na dali, ay activities is Sir Lisod, mo. So that's one of the challenges or issue in learning EDM. But my experiences alone is not enough to satisfy, it's not enough to make this talk meaningful. So we did an informal survey in all of our classmates, but unfortunately, na 7 wala ni answer. You know na kinsa mo. Job. Nahulat biya ko to. But let's make something available. So from those answers that among na-collect, so we have generated the list of some challenges na nakuha sa EDM 135. So the first one is
The first challenge now is aligning assessment to BIG's constructive alignment and TRU framework. So from the previous talks, alignment is the mentioned as TRU, which is the cognitive and formative assessment dimensions, and the formative, the learning considerations in the intended learning outcomes or the objectives. Now, for example, we created an assessment plan or lesson plan. Since alignment is learning objectives, learning activities, and assessment should all be aligned. For example, we have the lesson in teaching quartiles. So the objective is to solve per quartile. Then the learning activities is about work to teacher. Then the assessment is quiz, the summative. So we can say that it is aligned. But are we sure that it is fitted to the TRU framework? No, we're not sure. Depending po doon sa activities, but for given that, it's traditional part of assessment plan. So one student said that it is difficult to switch or drift from traditional assessment to the conventional, the TRU framework. So that's one of the challenges. And then the other one also mentioned that the time constraint now. So we did an assessment plan. So in the assessment plan, there were three columns na the learning activities, then apo isa points of consideration. Then we had planned the activities now, but then we also need to plan the time constraint. So although we wanted to have the productive struggle, so we did make effort in making the activities. But then when we did the lesson implementation, now we realized that no, sometimes we should focus on smaller concepts lang sa dito makahimong ka ng more on kanang habugiran mo kayo, yes. Very good you kayo mo activity. Yes, very good kayo TRU framework, but no, we have to be humble ourselves. We have to consider if the students can manage that, if the teacher can manage that well in the classroom. So the second challenge that came out is the assessment concepts. So it's funny kay mostly this ang answer yun sa assessment concepts. Our classmates said that they forgot assessment for learning. What is assessment for learning? What is assessment as learning? What is assessment of learning? And when it comes to mapping the assessment plan, there are confusions along the way because we don't know where to start because we don't know what it is. Now, that was the big challenge. And it is difficult, for example, we have a plan where to insert the assessment for learning, the formative assessment. Where do we need to insert the assessment as learning, where the students will evaluate themselves, self-evaluation and have reflections. So that was one. And then the next challenge that we have is creating a table of specifications. Now, it was mentioned that assessments is a challenge. Then we did assessment, so we created multiple choices exams, right? 20-item multiple choices. But the question is, are those assessment tests that we did are valid and reliable? Sometimes we could say that, no, it may be or maybe not. Now, the next one is the TUS. So, nana po today. Another challenge na po, wala lagi sa botong sa COS. Yes, sir. Another na kung ito is excuses. Wala daw na online daw, wala daw pasabot sa TOS, agoy. So, mo to, online daw kuno din. Pero bisag online natulog na ito sa pagkasabot sa TOS. And then other concern was, I remember na one highlighted that during our TS, actually, we did it by group. So, we did it by group online. And then, some students may understood what TUS is, but some who are, okay na, TUS sa diri mo, tabang sa diri ka diri. So, dito ka part, listen yun siya. So, that was
the big challenge. But if we do revisit man po sa CPA, and we could connect, if naka-download ito mga PDF file. So, and this one, distributing specified items in different levels of Bloom's taxonomy. Nakaputay na, dumog na big challenge din, nakalimut daw sa ng Bloom's taxonomy. And, so, review sa Google, nakuha na. So, distributing sa TOS, we have higher order thinking skills and lower order thinking skills. Now, it's a bit tricky. Okay, when we do the TOS, we have to consider the objectives. We have to consider the time given sa pag-discuss ato ng certain objectives. And we calculate that na ratio. So, ato na i-distribute per higher thinking or order thinking skills, remembering, analyzing, creating. And then, one said that she was confused kay she thought that tanan dito appeal niya. But then, maybe she did not realize that we need to follow the objective. So it depends on the objectives. Not necessarily nga all in the Bloom's taxonomy will be included in your assessment. For the next challenge is the item analysis. Now, we did the 20 item test. So, sir said that high school man, so some did the grade 7, grade 8, grade 9, grade 10. But we were instructed that it's only, it's okay na classmates lang pa-answer. It's a grade 7, classmates are lang pa-answer. But here is the challenging part na dahil. Kaya, syempre, ang classmate, bisa grade 7 to, wala ka sabot sa topic. Then, when it comes to item analysis, wala na, nang bagsak na ito ng mga grado dito. Namuna to siya. Pag itong i-reflect sa teacher, the teacher plan, make TOS, make the quiz, and then mga 2 weeks, but ang sira na sa students of 5 minutes, wow. Diba na multiple choice. So, muna siya, what part sa kuan sa item analysis. Now, from those challenges that we had, mostly it's about the lack of knowledge on certain concepts, but it is manageable naman if we revisit those concepts, especially if discussed na from previous courses. And the other challenge lang is to keep the pace. If we are active in this point of time, it's difficult to be active all the time. So we are all going through challenges along the way. And one thing to consider lang, challenges always remember siya na it's not there to be a hindrance to success or be a hindrance to being a competent teacher. It is actually there to guide us, to mold us na ding dapat na magtuon. Dapat kita mo focus adi. Tumora to. I hope nga so for first year dili mo balaka kay though na challenges, always mo na challenges gyapon. So third year, fourth or any 20 years. So let's keep going. That's all.
Thank you, Ms. Urot, for that thought-provoking talk. We appreciate your insights into the challenges we face during EDM 135.
Now, to wrap up this incredible event, let's invite a very important person. This event would not be possible without him. So, ladies and gentlemen, our EDM 135 advisor, Mr. Janelle Medina, to give us the closing remarks.
Nagagawin na sulat ko. Ako yung kaminaw na ko ng mag-score ko eh. Mayroon hapon sa tanan. And I'm thankful that we were able to push through with this culmination event. I would love to hear more on top, especially the 133. Siguro may magpaka-paka pa yung mga sharing sa 133. Kato yun ang pinaka-struggle na ano. Actually, for those who are invited, may I know what courses you take? HE. Wow. So imagine you are listened by HE people. So thank you so much. And of course, Mon, ang among pinalanggang junior na more than down nagpabilin. I would like to make my closing remarks in 3 points. One is that in this culmination event, it is made apparent that the reality of mathematics education, or even education in general, we see in the reading, in the science, and maybe even in the test, in the skills, no? In the case of HE. The reality is that we are not yet into the point that we can confidently say that we are doing the best, or we are producing the best results in terms of educating our young people. We may say that we are doing our best, but that best effort that we are not translating into the desired outcomes that our country is looking into producing. Even with Dio's presentation, it may sound compelling, but if we are detached from those realities, I don't think that you would be touched by the challenge of doing better in our respective fields, right? So my second point is that it is always my dream to have all students feel that mathematics classroom are not a threatening environment. You know, when you share your ideas, that there's no possibility that you'd be laughed at because you had a ridiculous idea or you get wrong answers. I am dreaming of that classroom that has that culture it is open, and at the same time, it's not only open, but it's also open to challenge. The reality of Filipinos' culture is that we are afraid, or we look at authorities, don't we? Right? And especially in the case of mathematics, we have this sort of a culture that I know better than you, right? So especially if teachers stand in front, for example, I myself, I'm always tempted to do that, but I always subject myself to always saying to you, and especially to my students, that if you see something that I need to correct, please do that. And even put into a point that will be discussed in the classroom what needs to be done to improve the design of the course for the next sem. Because we need to realize that a classroom is a learning space, not only for the students, but most especially for the teacher. In as much as your students may learn from your designed lessons, you should also be learning from your students. And I think that's what it means to meet them halfway. So I gave you an idea with you. And so let's make that a dream. Not only in mathematics, if you want to dream it for HE, for other courses, maybe English language, Filipino, my gosh, kaloi ang Filipino itawag. Diba? How would you make Filipino a subject in school where everybody loves to know, I want to know more about Tagalog. Yeah. Right? I mean, if mathematics is challenging, there's also a lot of disciplines that has the same challenge. Dili naman ang math. And finally, I would like to leave this point with you in dreaming for a Philippines that is kind of become amenable to quality education. I think I've been serving in the UST-SEI as a trainer for teachers for quite some time now. I started in 2017. That makes it about 5 years. We train teachers, yes. Some teachers receive it, but most teachers don't. Kaya naman sila sa DepEd na nasa item, stable na sila, hindi na sila matakutang sa posisyon. So we thought, what can we do better? And we look at where we are. And I bet that the dream of that high-quality mathematics education that they all talked about starts with you. If you do not commit, nothing will change. If you do not start, nothing will move. Okay? So, with that end, I hope that this culmination event kind of like brought a closure to all the struggles, the price, and the sir, pwede natin na mag-pass. I understand very much the struggle. Let's take them into a close as a course, but I hope that our learning for assessment and evaluations never stops. That being said, thank you, and thank you. Salamat kayo.
Thank you, Sir Janil, for that inspiring closing remarks.
And now, the moment we've all been waiting for, the announcement of the meme winner. The winner will receive a special prize for their hilarious contribution.
Can we have a drum roll, please?
And the winner of the meme competition is
Entry number 1!
So, ma-reveal na yun kung
Congratulations to the winner and also thank you to all.
Jocelyn.
Thank you to all participants for sharing your amazing